Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Welcome back to my living room in beautiful Barcelona. Today I want to talk about something a little bit more advanced, something in pronunciation that might cause a few problems if you're new to Spanish and haven't done a lot of listening. We're going to talk about the different sounds of the letter G. So, the main thing that you might have heard about Spanish pronunciation is like, oh, Spanish is easy. You just say everything exactly as it's written. That's not actually true. It's mostly true. It's largely true, but it is not entirely true. There are a few exceptions to these things, and there are a few deeper pronunciation things that we have to get into. So, first off, usual disclaimer, I'm sure there's a real Spanish person out there who would pronounce these things slightly better than I do with a more authentic Spanish accent, but I've been here for nearly 20 years. I've been around the block, let's say, and I'm ready to teach some pronunciation. So the G has two different pronunciations. Think of maybe three different pronunciations. We're going to talk about it. Think of the five vowels. You can use the G with any of the five vowels. And so you end up with a couple of rules about this. We have, for example, the combinations ga, gu, go. Just remember this. Ga, gu, go. And then we have che and chi. Notice that I'm pronouncing it completely different before the E and the I. In ga, gu, go, or ga, go, gu, if you want to put it in strict alphabetical order, you're just pronouncing it basically like the English G. G. Ga, gu, go. However, in the other ones, you're pronouncing it more like a ch sound. I don't know how regional this is. In Madrid, this is how people pronounce it. In Barcelona, I'm pretty sure too. It's not like a soft H. It's like I'm clearing my throat. It's like I've got a cold and I need to get something out of the back of my throat. So I say che and chi. We're going to hear a lot of examples, but just to start, that's where we're starting. Ga, gu, go, che, chi. Afterwards, we'll do some words with consonants also, with a G and then another consonant and some other stuff. But first, our ga words. We have garaje. Garaje, que es, which is a garage. Simple enough. Garaje. We have gazpacho. Gazpacho, which is gazpacho, the soup. It's like a cold tomato soup. If you've never had it, you might like it. I sort of like it once a year maybe. But gazpacho. I was recently in the US, speaking of gazpacho, I was recently in the US and like all kinds of people were asking me, but if you're over in Spain, do you speak with the lisp? And I'm like, yeah, that's just correct pronunciation out there. It's not like I'm making some point to, I just, that's how you say it, gazpacho. This is not typical in Latin America, I guess, so it might sound a little bit silly if you're not used to hearing it, but that's that. We have gafas, gafas, which are like gafas del sol, glasses. Gafas, I guess, would just be regular glasses. Gafas del sol would be sunglasses. I think they have a different word in Latin America for this, something like anteojos, but I'm not certain if that's still being used or if it's now just gafas for everybody. Finally, we have the verb ganar. Ganar, you could conjugate it 72 different ways if you wanted to, but ganar is the infinitive. It means to win. Win or earn. There's a story about that. In English, we use win, earn, and gain, and in Spanish, that could just be ganar across the board. Okay, so our gu words. Let's talk about a basic gu word because in a moment it will be slightly more complicated. Gusano. Gusano is worm. Gusano. Then we have gusto, which could be like the flavor of something. It also, the verb gustar, let's just say the verb gustar, me gusta. I like it. Me gusta mucho tu nuevo peinado. I like your new hairstyle a lot. Gustar and all of its conjugations, me gusto, le gustas. That's a whole story we could talk about someday. But yeah, there's definitely, the gu sound when it's just G, U, and then some consonant. However, and this is where it's going to get even more complicated, there's G, U, E, and there's G, U, I. Okay, so G, U, E. My notes here. G, U, E is ge. The U is silent after G, but before E. So, guerra. Guerra is war. Guerra. Guerrilla. Guerrilla is, in English, we kind of just pronounce it gorilla, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, la guerrilla is like people running around with guns in the countryside and fighting a non-standard type of war. La guerrilla. We have guiso. Also, G-U-I words, the U becomes silent, and we have guiso. I think it's just, maintaining the sound of the G. We need the U for some reason. I'm sure there's some long explanation somebody could give you, but guiso. Just remember, guerrilla, guerra, gusano, guiso, and you'll be fine with that. Guiso is like a stew. It comes from the verb guisar, which I think is just to cook something slowly. Yeah, guisar, to stew it, basically, logically. Okay, and this is where things get even more fun, because we have a couple other G words, which are GUA words. We have guapa, and we have guapa, let's say, for now. Guapa and agua. Guapa and agua. I was thinking about this, and I asked Laura from La Casita de Laura, mejor dicho, Laura from La Casita de Laura. I have a few videos here on the channel with Laura. She's great. She's the one who answers my questions before I record these videos so that I don't say something totally stupid. So guapa, agua, I would pronounce them this way most of the time, but a lot of people in regions of Spain, many regions of Spain, including Canarias, where Laura is from, would say guapa and agua. The G-U-A tends to sound more like a W-A. There's a really shitty bar here in Barcelona called Guapa. A friend of a friend works there. I just call it guapa because that's what the actual word is, but my girlfriend is always correcting me. No, they spell it with a W. It's guapa. So the W-A-P-A pronunciation is unofficial. I used to date a girl who would spell everything kind of the way it sounds. I think she thought it was charming somehow. I thought it was stupid, but that was one of those things, guapa. She would write to me. She would write me messages. We were dating, so she would start her message with hola guapo, with a W. Back in the day. But yeah, so guapa, agua, I would maybe pronounce agua just with the W sound, even though I usually pronounce guapa with the G sound. But yeah, agua. And then there's a specific Canarian word that Laura brought up, which is the wawa. She says she would never say guagua. The wawa is what they call the bus down there. I think there's some reason, I don't remember. It's something that came from Cuba or Venezuela because there was a lot of migration from Spain to the Canaries to the Caribbean and then back and forth migration all through the last few hundred years. And somehow, in the Canary Islands, they call their buses wawas. So that's definitely pronounced in the Canaries with a W sound. Wawa. Anyway, you don't need to know that unless you're on Gran Canaria or one of the other Canary Islands. I highly recommend Gran Canaria, at least. Tenerife I've been to also, but I have spent a lot of time in Gran Canaria. I love it. You should go. You should visit Laura at her casita. But yeah, so that's the G-U-A-G-U-I-G-U-E sounds. Just remember, the pronunciations, and listen to people and listen to the pronunciation and just imitate them. You'll pick it up even if you don't remember these rules all the time. Okay, from here it gets easier. We have go. The go words I have are, well, I put gorila because gorila is with one L in Spanish, I believe, and it is the gorilla, the animal. I remember a movie back in the day. I saw this movie where it's like some scientist who's going out in the jungle and somebody tells him like, oh no, don't go to that place. There's gorillas out there. And the science guy is like smarter than everybody. He's like, no. This isn't Africa. This is South America. You don't have gorillas in South America. And he goes out and he runs into, instead of, large apes, he runs into guerrillas, guys with guns running around, and they kidnap him and he's like, guerillas, of course, whatever. But anyway, gorilla is G-O, and it's go, gorilla. We have golfo. Golfo can be two things. I just saw it and I immediately went to the colloquial use of golfo. But technically it's like the Gulf of Mexico. It's el Golfo de Mexico. I'm pretty sure they would call it that in Spanish also. El Golfo Persico, the Persian Gulf. There's different gulfs out there. It's a large expanse of water, kind of surrounded on a couple of sides by land or whatever. Whatever a gulf is, literally, that's the way they say it, Golfo. However, si una persona es un golfo, if a person is a golfo, if a man is a golfo, he's kind of a lazy, dishonest person who maybe lives by his wits, doesn't have a job, just kind of gets by, on picaresca, which is another typical Spanish concept. We can go into that another day too. But yeah, golfo, lazy, dishonest, possibly has, heavy drinking and other bad habits. If a woman is a golfa, she's a prostitute. I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of words that the male version is one thing and the female version is prostitute. We could talk about zorro and zorra someday and things like that, but long list, it's not particularly feminist, but I didn't make the language. So yeah, golfo and golfa mean that. Anyway, the pronunciation is that. Also the sport, golf. In Spanish, you would pronounce it more with the Spanish O, but golf, golf. Trago. Most of the words I'm doing here are using the G at the beginning, but it doesn't make a difference if it's in the middle of the word. Trago, tomamos un trago. It comes from the verb tragar, which is to swallow something. Un trago is just a drink, like a generally alcoholic drink, I would say. Tomar un trago is have a drink, colloquially, not in a very formal sense. We also have gofre. Gofre is a waffle. Gofre. So those are go words, nothing complicated to say about go words. After that, we have the other two vowels, e and i. So we have he and chi. In a lot of places, they probably pronounce it with a softer, like, sound. I personally pronounce it with the sound, not quite that hard, but some people do. It gets harder or softer depending on the person and the region. Gemir. Gemir, I think, is to moan or to whine or something like that. Sounds kind of sexual. Let me check really quick. I'll get back to you after this brief pause. Okay, that was a very fun 2 minutes on Google. So, gemir, yes. It is what I thought it was. It's it's whine or complain in the normal sense, but it's also gemidos, referring to high-pitched female sexy noises. If you Google gemir and the word sexo, you're going to get a whole lot of porno pages. But yeah, so, and the occasional scientific pages which explain the evolutionary basis of female sexy noises, which is an issue that you should take more seriously. It's an actual thing. Read a book called Sex at Dawn and get back to me. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. But yes, gemir is to whine or to moan sexily. Okay, so gente. La gente, I always have to teach Spanish-speaking people that gente is people, but people in English is plural. 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. La gente is just the people in general, but thought of as a single body, basically. Mucha gente, it's singular. So mucha gente piensa que. It's torture for me. It was torture for me several years trying to write this without making mistakes, because it just seems so logical to me that people is plural. But mucha gente piensa que whatever. A lot of people think, but it's all in singular. Okay. Then we have general. En general, in general. Generalmente, I guess, generally. And also it could be the military rank. Un general en el ejército. Ejército. So notice, not to complicate things further, notice that ejército has a J, but the pronunciation is the same as the pronunciation of the G. I think that is in all J words, pretty much, like joder or I don't know, give me another J word. Jalar. They don't say that here in Spain, really, but yeah, your J words. Jalapeño. I don't know. But yeah, that's with a J sound, just like the GE and the GI. I'll do J another day. Why not? Okay, so general, and then we have geografía. Geografía has 2 G's. You might notice that the GR is gr. Geografía. After that, we have a few GI words. We have girar. Girar is turn. Girar. Yeah, well, estoy girando la cabeza. I'm turning my head. Girar. We have gigante. Gigante is giant. There's another word that is even bigger and more disturbing sounding. Gigantesco. Gigantesco is like gargantuan or something like that. It's really, really big. But yeah, gigante. We have gilipollas. Gilipollas is an insult. It's a stupid person. I know that there's some long story about how this came into use. It really, as far as I know, doesn't mean anything. Polla, though, could be penis. So it sounds obscene just because of having pollas at the end of it. But the explanation that I've heard has nothing to do with that. I think it has to do with female chickens, how female chickens got to be peni is another thing that I don't know the reason for, but you'll just have to trust me. Anyway, gilipollas. No seas gilipollas. Daniel, don't be such a jackass, Daniel. Something like that. Then there are a few other words with G-I. There's gimnasio, which of course is a gym. Gimnasio. There is ginecólogo, if you want. It's got the second G-O at the end. Ginecólogo is a gynecologist. I don't know, talking more about sex than usual today. I apologize if you're like a, Mormon or something and you're offended by the word ginecólogo, but, I apologize, but not too hard. Anyway, after that, there's just a couple of common G plus consonant combinations. We don't have to talk too much about it. There's GR and there's GL, and there's not too much to talk about here. Granizo, granizo. You have to pronounce kind of the Spanish R. It's not granizo, but it is granizo. This is hail. The verb granizar, to hail. There's something that comes from that, which is un granizado. Un granizado is like a slushy, let's say. It's a bunch of ice and some fruit juice or something mixed up, and you can, it's lemon flavored or whatever. So it's like a lemon slushy. They might have other flavors of granizado out there. Lemon is fairly common. There's grapadora. Grapadora, which comes from the verb grapar, which is to staple. A grapadora is a stapler. And there's grúa. Grúa is a word you'll probably see if you're traveling in any Spanish-speaking country. You'll see it in writing all the time. It's like, no aparcar, llamamos grúa, or something like that. Grúa is the tow truck. So there'll be these no parking signs where it says they will call the tow truck if you park in this place. Llamamos grúa. So that's gr and gru and gra. I guess there's probably more grupo, group, grupo. And then there's GL. I guess in Italian, for example, the GL is a different sort of sound. In Spanish, it's just gl, globo, which is I think it's actually a globe also, in the sense of I think they call it a globo terráqueo or something like that. I'll put whatever the correct word is on the screen here. Un globo terráqueo, or whatever it is for a globe representing the Earth. But normally it's a balloon. It could be a hot air balloon or a regular, party balloon. We talked about the pez globo, which is the pufferfish. We talked about that in a previous video. Glorieta. Glorieta is a traffic circle, a roundabout, possibly. It's a geographical feature within the city or on highways where the cars have to drive in a circle and, get off at whatever point of the circle is convenient to them. A glorieta. I remember coming to Spain and thinking, when I found out what a glorieta was, I was kind of disappointed because I had seen the word on all these signs, and I was expecting it to be some really cool thing, because glorieta, it sounds like gloria, like glorious, something glorious, but it's not. It's a traffic circle. Anyway, another GI word if you want. Girasol, talking about girar la cabeza and things like that. Girar, de turn. Girasol is a sunflower, and it's called that because it turns with the sun. Girasol. Know something new. You learn something new every day. Hopefully this video will teach you many new things, not just one. After that, just a couple more. Gluten. Gluten, which is gluten, obviously. Gluten, the protein from wheat and other grains. And we have iglesia. Iglesia, which is a church. Iglesia. So that's the GL. There aren't too many other combinations with G and a consonant. I'm thinking of agnostico, like agnostic, agnostico. And I'm thinking of, diagnostico. But nothing interesting happens with a GN combination either. Just pronounce the two letters pretty much as you would pronounce them anyway. So this has been a long video. I'm surprised that it's taken me probably 20 plus minutes at this point to talk about the letter G. So I hope you have a great day. There's a link down here. You could donate something to the cause. Buy me a virtual vermouth. I'm drinking iced tea today because it's early. But if you would like to buy me a virtual vermouth, you could do that. You just go to the link down here, or I'll put it on screen too. And you can buy me one vermouth for $2 or $3. You could buy me 100 vermouths for $200 or $300 if you wanted to. I would not complain about that. Anyway, I do enjoy having you watching these videos. Thank you so much for being here. You can support this for free just by giving me a like, by leaving a comment down below, by asking questions about Spanish that I could answer in future videos, etc., etc., etc. Lots of things you could do. Tell your friends I'm here. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and wherever you are in the world, que pases un muy lindo día, pongamos. All right, until next time, bye.